What we're going to be talking about today, we got like a little bit of like, ambient music here is not really like, you know, centrally, not centrally, sorry, subject, not subject. It's not in line with any of the videos that I have like, that I usually like post on YouTube or Twitch or or things like that. Rather, this is something that's, been bugging me a lot, and I've been seeing, a flood of shorts the past weekend, and especially like yesterday. And this is going to be on the famous, or we should call it like infamous, is on the social media app TikTok, right? We're going to be talking about the wild tornado, the wild fiasco that happened with TikTok, especially like the past weekend and especially the last weekend. So for those that are like, unaware, there may be like age groups that doesn't know, hey, what's TikTok or things like that. It's a social media app specifically for, the youngins, right? It's a social media app that you can like, make videos about. It's a video editing like app, right? You have you make like 30 seconds. Well, they changed that now from like 30 seconds to like a minute to like full on like 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Yeah, well, it's like crazy. But TikTok has been all over the news as of like, recently with like a TikTok ban in the United States. Long ago, I think it was like, a few months ago, TikTok was under fire by, higher like powers, and it was on the eve of becoming banned from the United States. Why was it becoming banned from the United States? Well, more or less the reason was because of security, national security, data and privacy. TikTok is partnered with another company owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance, and they have a vast like share in TikTok, and that caught wind to the US for they were skeptical because of ByteDance's like partnership with TikTok. It would be leaking out information of specific users' data from that country to their country. The conversation I'm trying to try to make it like less like political and like news savvy, but the more we talk about this will be political, and so this is why it's like out of like my left field, but I still want to discuss this for for a few things, right? A few specific reasons. One of them is, the Khaiza's, attachment to TikTok, right? Or my perception of TikTok, right? TikTok was more or less back in the day, just, when I think about it, it's kind of like, that old show, America's Funniest Home Videos, like you see on like, ABC or, your cable network news, kind of like that, just short, like, there's also the other thing, Vines, right? Just like short snippets of people doing like, dumb, funny things for the sake of like, entertainment. And we gobbled that shit up. And over the years, those two things sort of like, died down. And what eventually like, ported, and they eventually, transferred over to TikTok, and TikTok became like, the new gen version of America's Funniest Home Videos. But in more recently, the platform has evolved to feature not just, home videos, but also, YouTube patterns like, you know, gaming, as well as Twitter. Well, not Twitter, sorry, not Twitter. But yeah, I think like Twitter. Yeah, just to like talk or, you know, vent. There's also Instagram, in the sense of like, you know, food shows and food reviews and thirst traps aplenty. TikTok has become much more, I would say, like evolved, right, in those aspects over the past like few years, especially to like, you know, today. And when TikTok was under fire, because, you know, it's not just, you know, ByteDance, it's not just, you know, right, the Chinese national security like issue that was also there. There was also like, you know, parts of like TikTok that was, you know, damaging the youth, or, you know, like brainwashing or things like that, which, you know, on that department, right, it's I mean, you know, there are some matters that were brought up that make like TikTok, you know, dangerous, especially to like the youth. But especially as of like the past few months that we've seen under the TikTok, you know, under the TikTok ban, it was like, ugh. Yeah, it's just more or less that reason than the former reason. So my attachment to TikTok, I recently like got into it back 2 years ago, and it was just like a good avenue. It was just a good avenue for me to upload some of my personal funny clips onto, you know, the platform. And yeah, like it works, right? Short videos highlighting specific moments from like my streams became, you know, like kind of like Twitch clips, right? I mean, Twitch clips are like around on Twitch, but sometimes I don't like, you know, pay attention to Twitch clips. Rather, I just like go to like, you know, my VODs and make specific sections and, you know, do more stuff with like, you know, of course, video editing programs with Adobe Premiere Pro and like things like that, and upload them to TikTok and like enhance them when I do like Twitch clips, unless it's like, you know, a fighting game moment or like, you know, things like that. Similarly, sort of like, you know, to me, lose its charm, right? It's only like, you know, for that moment. And of course, right, I can't clip it on like, you know, what was it, Streamlabs or things like that. I would have to go to like, you know, Twitch dashboard or things like that and just manually like do them, and it becomes such like a hassle, right? I mean, of course, right, I could also, you know, do that on the VODs and make those like clips, but maybe it's just down to like, you know, laziness. And I found more fun just making videos and uploading them onto TikTok, and it shit was like a good fun time. Over time, over my TikTok time, I started to be a little bit more variety with my TikTok, and start to incorporate tokusatsu videos of just me pulling up like my phone right here and grab like, you know, a stand, put it on over to like the bed and showcase it where like that toy is, on where like the chair is, that's, you know, on the toy. And showcase new tokusatsu toys like Kamen Rider belts or things like that. And that shit boosted my TikTok, because yeah, there are a lot of like, you know, at least like in my feeds or in like in my algorithms, a lot more toku stuff that get a lot more viewership for those vids, for those VODs. After like taking a break from like TikTok, it was like, yeah, those manually like edited videos lose its charm, and the things that would like pop up are like, you know, tokusatsu videos. So it was like, you know, started off like really like low, like this, like right here, and then like rose up, and then just went back down, right? So and then like elevates like a little bit, or like middle paths. So yeah, I respect that like TikTok is a good avenue, right? It's a good avenue for let's say like a small content creator like me to get my presence out there. And then over time I do YouTube shorts now. So now I do like the vertical format, which is kind of like new to me. So I constantly think of like new ways of like try to make like my stream like bits, my personal stream bits, a little bit more entertaining in like a YouTube like 9:16 vertical format. And shit is always like challenging because like you got to think of like your webcam, and then your fight screen or game screen at like at the top or like the bottom. It's like so whole lots of like rearranging, right? Which is fun though, which is fun. I give it like that, tedious but fun. As far as like what's been going on with like TikTok, like to like bring it back to like the TikTok like ban or like the news that's been going on. Yeah, it was just like a looming like threat, like the end of like the era as an egregious like hyperbole. A lot of like people have been like saying, especially to like TikTok content creators, specifically to that platform. It was like the end was like nigh type of like shit. And yeah, that shit was like as I was like reading up a lot more and like doing and was like watching videos on like the subject matter, yeah, TikTok became a much influential part in a lot of people making like full-time like careers from TikTok. People started out their careers from TikTok, things like that. And I can't really say much because like I started on YouTube, I started on Twitch, so I can't really say I started out on TikTok or I've like has like a huge like thank you to like the app, because I was just not that like involved in it, because like in all sense my perception of TikTok is once again like America's Funniest Home Videos, but then that later changed and evolved to now it's like smart technology. Now you have like algorithms that how many times like you scroll or like how many minutes you like log into a video, it reads like your eye data, and when you scroll to the next video, that's like what you watch. It's like very smart like technology, also like dangerous, because if you accidentally watch like a thirst trap, then the next 3 or more things are going to be thirst traps. If you watch like a dumb like brain rot video, there's going to be dumb brain rot shit. TikTok is like it's stupid fun, right? That's what I ultimately perceive as like TikTok is like, yeah, once again, America's Funniest Home Videos. They're dumb stupid fun, right? Is it like the greatest like app ever? It's leisure, right? It's like when you're bored and you like lie down, you just like scroll through TikToks and find what's the most funniest and give it a like or a thumbs up or even like comment down on it. But that's all I saw it ever was. I didn't see like the true depth of the potential of TikTok, right? Until like these past few months where you see like these creators, these people from all different jobs of all over the world made their bank from TikTok, and they are pretty successful from TikTok. And because this ban was like looming over their heads, like it's almost as like loss of like life, loss of their income and things like that, and feels pretty like bad. And everybody was like bracing for the end all be all like the past weekend with like, a court decision to like, ban the app altogether, and it actually got banned around like, Sunday like morning, or at least like Sunday or Saturday night for 24 hours until on Sunday night, which was like January 19th, shit came back on. And then the next day, which was, yesterday or tomorrow. Sorry, Sunday's tomorrow, my like yesterday, Monday, January 20th. Inauguration day. The app came back on for a lot of like people. It said with the message, TikTok has been, revived, resurrection. I'm not gonna say the whole thing because I'm trying to like avoid, touchy like subjects, but I'll paraphrase it down. TikTok has been resurrected, all thanks to the glory of like, one man who is sitting at like, the most prestigious like place in, in the land. So quote unquote have him to thank. My feelings on it overall is like, yeah, TikTok lost its former shell. People were really like bracing for like the end all be all of like, the platform altogether. I essentially like felt bad, right? Like listening and like, watching all these like videos is like, damn, man. Wow. Who knew this was like so impactful? But then it just became like, a tornado, like just switching it up, and people were like, oh yay, it's back. Can we move on? I saw like, what was it? The Anime Men. Famous like TikTokers talking about, spreading the joys of like anime, made like this funny skit like, it's all over. This will be our last TikTok video. And then after TikTok comes back, what's everybody, new video here. Like, damn, man. It's funny. It's funny how much of a tornado it became, and we were all bracing for it. And I was even willingly preparing myself for, the close down of TikTok, because I have like avenue routes, right? I was gonna compete with thirst traps on Instagram, posting my videos and things like that. I was, embracing the idea, but then just like came back, so it was like gave everybody a scare. So yeah, like, what was like but then like, in actuality, the app came back, but only for 90 days, right? This shit only came back, this shit will come back for like 90 days, so approximately 3 months. So right, what? This is like, what, January? February, March, April? After like April, this shit will be banned again, right? This shit will be banned, and ain't no one gonna have like a say in that again, unless it could pull like a miracle and like bring the shit back. But this is like another discussion to say about TikTok, is that yeah, like it came back, but the cost of it was so like, high that it became like a former shell. The man running in the office takes all the credit for bringing back like TikTok, as much as he does like all the time. So he's reaping like the rewards of like his efforts, right? So, and there was a lot of like, stemming issues that we don't want to like discuss, but are there, and you could go check out like videos here and there on like those like issues. It sort of like reminds me of like this one personal story. One of my dad, my late Apu, Alhamdulillah, bless his soul, right? Um, he was a great teacher at Hudson County Community College. He worked for that college, right? Eventually getting to the tenure position, which is like a very, sought after, because if you get tenure, that means you're secured for life as a teacher. You're not going to be working part-time. You get like extra benefits if you work as like tenure, all that shit. Someone in my dad's class didn't like his grading style, didn't like how he taught said person, and that said person filed a complaint against my dad, and the college cut him off. The college cut him off, like, for good. And so it was like, this was really shocking because, my dad worked at Hudson County HCCC for God knows how long. And it just felt like betrayed. Until lo and behold, the students rose up, created like a petition, especially like, alumni who graduated from my dad's class, and said, hey, what you did to Professor Khan was unjust. Get him the fuck back up. And it was successful. Got him back. But then my dad told me, he personally told me, Farhan, I lost like a little bit of like myself. I lost a lot of myself. I'm not the same man coming back over here. Which is, of course, it makes sense. Right? The institution, the college that, got him a really good job, decided to like cut him off because they wanted to make room for like other, stuff and things like that. So it pretty much reminds me of that, like the whole like TikTok, aftermath, the feelings of it. This one person like taking charge, and we could have got this shit like, a workaround, but no, because of national security reasons. I mean, fair. No one wants to have their shit like leaked. But now it's like TikTok, it's like a former shell. It's like, this is not TikTok anymore. This is like something else. Taking all the credit, and, TikTok is going to be like the platform, kind of like, like X now. So-and-so musky motherfucker has been, making like Twitter. I mean, Twitter is like a shitty place, but it's even more shitty than it was now. Now it's like more, a harvesting ground of, just right-wingness. And it's so stupid. I usually use like social media apps just to like catch up on, gaming news and things like that. Or just like funny like tweets to post to like, my friends. But now social media apps are like getting to like the point of like, they're like media outlets to control like users, things like that. And I'll still be using like apps to, spread my content around, but it will come as like, a caveat that like, oh, this is the app that I will be like using, unfortunately. There are alternatives like Blue Sky and like, Red Note, alternatives to Twitter and TikTok respectively. But yeah, it's just so nasty now. Like, it feels like X and Twitter are nothing. People were even like going to like, Red Note just out of like spite because, the high courts, what was it? Gave a unanimous vote on the TikTok ban. And so users were like, yeah, let's go to Red Dance. That shit's owned by like another country. Let's use that. So yeah, like it is fucking weird. It's a wild fiasco. Overall, my perception of TikTok has been, right back in the day and what it originally was, just funny shit, hee hee ha ha. But now it's like evolving to something like else. Like it's not really like the same anymore. All these social media apps are like, not the same as like they were before. Fuck like Facebook. I hardly use Facebook. It's great that like my older family members are doing it, but that's also a harvesting ground for, politicalness. Things like that. It's crazy, right? Well, ultimately, I'll still use like Twitter or X just to like, do like my jobs. I'll get like news on like politics and stuff from, other like valid like sources, right? It's just so much like bullshit. I don't want to like deal with it. I want to see like, gaming news. But shit becomes like flooded with like, the more you look at one specific video or post, then the next what becomes this and that. I just want to see something else. Blue Sky is a good alternative, but the work that I do on like, X does not translate over to like, Blue Sky, where I need to talk to those motherfuckers on Blue Sky. Hey, why aren't you allowing like greater 50 megabyte or greater videos or longer than a minute videos, man? Shit sucks. But that's like my my thoughts and feelings. It's not really like a stance, but it's just like my thoughts and feelings. There's no like conclusion. I just hope for like the next 4 years it's not gonna be that, radical enough. Hoping that like whoever, takes the spot after, I hope he or she is better than what we got now. That's all I'm gonna say. As for like, the app itself, I hope for like, a return to form and, right? Don't want to see like, apps like lose their former self, or maybe with the right people, they become like Cure, but no. I don't think that would be like an impossible dream. Things like that. Sorry for like the out of topic conversation, homies. It's just that this shit's been like bugging my mind and wanted to like, express it in some way, shape, or fashion.